This film is personal. I tried to be honest and open about the experience of my life, my struggles with identity, and how it's all oddly intertwined with veganism. If you're not into that kind of stuff, just skip this video and find something else to do. My name is John, and I've been a vegan for 4 years now. It's been a bit of a roller coaster to get here. You may look at me and think, hippie, that it came easy, but it wasn't so straightforward. Let's take a look. My first inclination towards vegetarianism came when I was about 6 or 7. I watched an episode of Malcolm in the Middle and it made a connection in my brain between the animal and the meat. It's an episode where Reese releases a herd of cows from a factory farm, giving them their freedom. It resonated with me, I think, because I hated being controlled by anyone and I craved my own freedom. I used Lent as an excuse to ditch meat and continued on well after it ended. I don't think I knew what a vegetarian was at the time. No one in my family had been one, but I knew I couldn't eat meat again after realizing. So this phase lasted about 9 years. When I was in secondary school, I started getting a lot of stomach issues and ended up missing 2 years of school. I don't think I was all that sick. A large part was I just despised going to school. I had long hair and I was a bit of a social outcast, so when the opportunity arose, I leapt on it. That was a bad decision. It was a tremendously depressing experience. I would lie in bed for 20 hours a day. I was still a vegetarian at the time, but I only ate bread and potatoes. I didn't exercise at all, so I was this skinny, malnourished kid who never left the house. I felt weak in my soul. I've had my share of struggles with masculinity, and at many points it's been intertwined with eating meat. I began to think I needed meat to be healthy, and I needed to eat meat to be a man. I've had long hair for most of my life. When I was younger, I was picked on by other kids and had a whole host of jokes made about my gender. Teachers would call me a girl, boys would make jokes about jerking off over me until they realized it was a shitty situation to be in. In my eyes, I was just being very feminine by being overly sensitive to it. We eat meat, that's the way of the world. Man up, get over it. Stop being so weak and caring so much. This destructive energy held a lot of power in me at the time. After a good cry and a string of apologies to the world, I started eating meat again. My stomach cramped for days after the first piece of chicken I ate. Next to go was my hair. It's a part of me I had felt held me back so much in my life and caused me so much grief and heartache. I avoided anything new because it would lead to the same old confrontations. I even refused to use public bathrooms. With both my limiting factors out of the way, I went back to school. I finally made some friends and wasn't alone all the time. I went back to playing sports. I started lifting weights. 1 chicken breast a day turned to 3. 2 eggs turned to 6. And before I knew it, I was on a full bro diet with 3 protein shakes a day. And I swelled up to 200 pounds. At this point, I tried to strongly disconnect from who I was in the past. The weird, long-haired, overly sensitive kid was staying buried. I refused to acknowledge it was part of my story. To a point I still do. College happened soon after, and it came about that I lived with a vegan. Veganism was getting big on YouTube Fitness. Seeing you can be big and be a vegan was starting to pry open my eyes again to what I was doing. Slowly, the sensitivity towards animals I'd felt so strongly when I was younger permeated back into my life, and all I could see was pain in the food I was eating. I could no longer justify my worth in place of another animal's life, so I stopped. After I went vegan, I dropped out of college and traveled around the world. I needed some time to come to grips with myself and who I was. This wasn't some Julia Roberts eat, pray, love shit. This was getting blackout drunk on the regular, getting drugged and robbed, and getting spiked too often. It was a lot of fun. There were some sober moments in between, where I began to connect to the experience of my life and reintegrate the weird little kid within. After being out for a year, I decided to give college another shot. Galway this time. In college, I helped found the NUIG Vegan Society, a place where you get to meet other vegans and bring about some community. Veganism gets a bad rap. At its core, it's about positivity and embracing life. It's about choosing to see the worth and value in a life that you can't entirely understand, echoing that you're not the most important person in the world. It's something that has changed my life. I've come to terms with my struggles with identity. I'm still in the dark on a lot of things, but I know for a fact you don't need meat to be a man. Hurting something weaker than you doesn't make you strong. It makes you a coward. John Murphy's Guide to Being a Man. Number 1. Be a vegan. Technically optional, but you get perks. More energy, saving the planet, better boners. Number 2. Find male role models who you wish were your dad. Mine's probably Rich Roll. He's super nurturing and caring, very positive. He's a vegan ultra endurance athlete. He still has hair. My dad is bald. I am not looking forward to middle age. Number 3. Stand up for the things you believe in. It's cool to care. To hell with anyone who says otherwise. Number 4. Take care of your friends and family. Try to cultivate genuine care for people. Try to nurture them and help them grow. This wasn't a natural disposition for me, and it took a lot of opening up and trying to connect to people. I think it's hard for some guys to connect, and with it can come a lot of isolation. Happiness is only real when shared. It doesn't matter what you have or what you achieve if no one is around to share it with. Number 5. Be courageous. Be who you are and who you want to be. You'll find people who love you exactly for who you are. Take risks, be vulnerable, be open. You probably won't regret it. Number 6. Be a good person. Try to make the world a little bit better for the fact that you existed. There's a lot of people struggling and suffering, and if you can make their lives a little bit easier, you're doing good work.